So right now we're here with Camille Deaderick, who went to Southwestern in the mid 50s. And then she came back in the 60s and 70s and as the head of PE. Is that right?
That's correct. Well, yeah. Everything was
women's physical education,
yeah.
As well as some coaching duties. And then we also have Miss Cherry Falls here, who went to Rhodes from 1969 to 1973. So once again, welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So first, we'll start with Camille. Camille, can you just tell us a little bit about your time at Southwestern as a student and some of the intramural programs and other organizations that you were involved in?
Yes. Well, I was there, as a student, and I had to take PE, which was fine with me because I'm enjoy athletics and that sort of thing. So we didn't have any outside athletic activities, but I played in intramurals. I played softball and volleyball and all those kinds of things. And then, let's see, when I graduated, I worked in an elementary school. And then my friend who had been the head of the women's group retired, got married, I think, and retired. And so I took her place. And as it turned out, I was just the PE teacher, basically. That's what it was. And we had a good group of girls who were pretty athletic, and they said, gosh, we wish we could do something besides just intramurals. And I thought, oh, well, why not? So I started by calling different schools in relative near vicinity, and they invited us to play. It really started out with volleyball, only volleyball. And we gathered up a group and got a team together, and we started going to other colleges to play volleyball. And as I say, I think I told you, Danielle, that we were not funded at the school, but they didn't, there wasn't any problem with our doing this. So we went to the Lynx lair and bought striped shirts and cut out felt numbers and sewed them onto the back of the shirts. And that was our uniform.
Wow.
And so well, I guess we didn't play anybody in Memphis because there wasn't really anybody, to tell you the truth, except at one point, I got the Memphis State team to come over and teach us truly how to play, quote unquote, power volleyball, the bump, set, spike, business. And then we started out. You want to know about how we played, Naomi, where we played and all that?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. All right. Well, we played at Austin P College. We played at Carson Newman, Middle Tennessee, Lambeth, David Lipscomb, who else?
Murray State.
Okay. And really just, all around in this area, relatively close. But we all piled into one station wagon, and away we went. And I remember that when we had to spend the night, a lot of times we didn't, but when we had to spend the night, we all stayed in what was called a Scottish Inn. I don't know if y'all ever heard of it. Scottish Inn. I didn't think so. And all of us piled into one room. So I don't know. It just was, it was an incredibly fabulous experience. We just had a great time, and we played pretty doggone good volleyball. We did some winning. And the funny thing, I told you that we had asked Memphis State to come over and teach us some of the skills and everything. And we really had gotten pretty good. So we entered the state volleyball tournament, which was played in Knoxville. And we went to that, and lo and behold, we had to play Memphis in the semifinals. Lo and behold, we beat them.
Ah.
And but we got whooped in the finals, but nevertheless.
That's by UT Knoxville.
Yeah, by
so,
UT Knoxville, so we didn't have a chance there.
So do you guys remember what year that was?
And,
It was probably, let's see, you started fall of 70. It was probably either 1970 or 1971. I mean, I think she started it in 1970.
yeah, we started it in 1970, I think. And so, 71, 72, somewhere in there. So.
Dang. Okay, well, before we get too much involved within the 70s, there's a picture, Camille, that I want to show you. I need to get it ready.
Okay.
So.
She's screen sharing.
Okay, are you ready?
You ready? I guess.
I
forgot about that. Oh, yeah.
So
when I was really first there, that probably may have been the first year. And that's Mary Mullen Rice. And she was from Franklin, Tennessee. And that just obviously was a posed picture. So I like that outfit.
That is the first thing you see is that outfit, that skirt, those shorts.
Oh, gosh.
So
yeah.
Up there behind you on the wall, the caption, we found this in the Lynx online archives, and it said it was from 1956. Mm-hmm. So I don't
56.
That's what the caption says, but you thought it might have been your first year there?
Yes. Wait a minute. I graduated in 57.
So
not
your first year, but
yeah. But I was still a student, obviously.
Yeah, I just didn't know if the caption would have been right. But my main question is, what are those, like fencing hats up there on top? What are those?
They are fencing masks, and this is in the future. But when I taught the PE classes, I taught everything. I taught golf, tennis, fencing. What else did we have? Anyway, whatever was there, I was the one who taught it. And we even did some
archery.
Yeah, archery. We even did some fencing exhibits. We went to different schools and the girls would fence, and it was fun.
The archery sounds like that had a good story to it.
Everything there had a good story, trust me.
I believe it.
So for PE classes back then, was it like, so you're talking it was like a class period? Was it like an hour long?
It was a graduation requirement.
Yeah. You had to pass it to graduate.
You had to wear these red shorts, red Bermuda shorts to class. I mean, you had to actually change into those to go to, at least that was in my day. I don't know what they wore.
I don't
she was there, but
I don't remember.
I remember those red shorts.
I do know that we could
and they did not stretch.
I do know that we could not cross campus in anything but
that's right.
Skirts. If we were going to PE, we had to wear. I always put on a raincoat over mine so I wouldn't have to change. But
smart.
That's part of it too.
So you lived in a time where you couldn't even really, like you just said, you had to wear skirts going across campus. So you lived in a time where you weren't allowed to wear shorts. What is it like just to see that change across the board? Like, we can wear short sleeves, you can wear shirts and everything else when we want to come to class and just be comfortable.
It was amazingly wonderful. We were free at last, and because we were just not allowed to wear shorts or whatever.
Blue jeans,
things like that.
Okay.
A lot of people I know would get up in the morning in their PJs and put the raincoat on and go to breakfast in their pajamas. So I'm not sure I ever did that. Probably I did, though.
I'm pretty sure I have in my day. I'm not going to lie. You mentioned that it used to be a requirement to take the PE class. What had happened back in the 70s for that wasn't to be a requirement anymore?
There just was some changes in the curriculum, and they decided, I guess the powers that be, I don't know who that is, but they decided that it wasn't necessary to require it, but you did get a credit if you took it, but you didn't have to take it. So, that did it like that.
There were a lot of that happened while I was there in the latter part of between 69 and 73 and in those years. But there were some major changes in the requirements. Instead of, I can't remember how it was, but you had like clusters of, you had to have so many hours in certain clusters. They really did an overhaul of graduation requirements.
Yeah.
And that was a time of great change anyway, in terms of checking in and out of the dormitory and having hours that you had to be in the dormitory. So that was a time of great change anyway. And things changed a lot in those early 70s. They really did. Big changes.
What were we about to say?
I was just on good changes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. So, Miss Camille, you graduated in 57, and then a little over a decade later, you came back to your alma mater. What was that like? Being on a different side of things, not only coming back to your alma mater, but also being on the administrative side of things, as opposed to a student.
Yeah. Well, I loved it because I absolutely love Southwestern and now Rhodes. And it was just fun being back and, going to faculty meetings and things like that. There were lots of professors that I knew and that I had and were friends with. And so it was just a wonderful experience to me at that time.
Reading through some of the things we found about you, like especially with your Hall of Fame induction, I saw that you're responsible for the development of not only badminton, but also tennis and volleyball too. You talked a little bit about the process of getting those sports here, but why those sports?
Well, we did basketball a little bit. I never was much into basketball, but we tried it. But tennis, just has kind of always been a kind of just a universal game, and so we took it up, and I coached some of the boys and all of the women, and we had badminton, we had co-ed badminton, and we traveled with the co-ed and to different badminton tournaments. And what else did we have? Badminton, fencing. I guess that was basically it.
So
a lot of it was just because if there was somebody who enjoyed something, a sport, Camille got it going. People, she would start it in her classes, and it was fun to play. So she just kept moving it forward to get.
So obviously, you can tell that I enjoy sports. So
Yeah, a pioneer of it.
So not necessarily like a varsity sport for badminton and fencing is what you would label it as varsity now, but you were just allowed to go to other places as intercollegiate and do it.
I guess we just would call it intercollegiate because it definitely was not varsity. So
no, that's fine. I'm trying to get a sense of like when like the varsity sport of like tennis would have necessarily started. So I do have a quick question, and this is going to be for both of you, because while I was reading some Southwestern articles, we noticed that the volleyball team had a nickname of Superstars.
Southwestern Superstar.
So is that what you guys were known as instead of like the Lynx?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but we just kind of gave our name, gave ourselves that name, the Southwestern Superstars. And that just was because this bunch of girls, that's just what they came up with. And I guess we were officially Lynx, but we were never called the Lynx, not to my knowledge anyway.
No.
And what year was that? Y'all went by the Superstars?
Those first few years. Mhm. Actually, can I tell you another story? Is that the first year we had our T-shirts were red T-shirts with a white stripes through them, and the other schools referred to us as the candy stripers. And so the first year we were known as and we were looked down upon as being, the candy stripers. But we showed them a few times. We were not.
they did not take us very seriously at the beginning, but it got so that they did take us seriously because those girls, we really had a good team.
And
Until you whooped Memphis State, huh?
yeah, we did. We did.
Woo. Yeah.
So I have another picture to show you,
Oh dear.
and it's gonna be kind of harder to see. Cherry, you might actually be in this photo.
Oh
yeah.
yes, I have the original right here. I have
There it is.
I found the original just a little while ago. Yes.
Wow.
That was taken in Voorhees.
In Voorhees Hall, and the guy that created this thing was
Clark?
no,
Okay.
was a student there at Rhodes, and he did some pictures and things, and he created this for us, and we just had fun doing that.
So it said
Yeah.
that this was from 1972. I guess the fall of 1972.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that sound
All
about
right.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Where are you?
So yeah, Cherry, which one are you?
I'm on the far right, sitting up, that stern look.
Number 8. It looks like a number 8. And
And
Camille,
I'm
that's
back-
you on the top left.
Yep. How about the hair? That's great.
You got the turtleneck going on, huh?
She still wears turtlenecks.
We saw these 3 championship little trophy cups down here next to the volleyball. Do you happen to have any recollection of what those could be from?
I'm sure one of them was Murray State, because that was a big win. That was a big win.
Miss Camille, I did, like I said, I was reading earlier, and I saw that you had a role in the development of the Ruth Sherman High Gymnasium downstairs, which you use for racquetball and aerobics now. What exactly was your role in the development of that?
Necessity.
Demand, necessity, what have you.
Was there anything in that space before it was the gym?
The women's gym, what they call
Field.
it?
Yeah.
It was a
It was
field.
field. Just a open field.
It
Yeah.
was
The wall of the what's it, the
Mallory Gym.
Mallory Gym was there on the east side. The wall on the east side.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and if you'd walk out through that wall, you'd be in a field.
Okay.
Just a grassy area out there. And
So-
that's where they built the women's division, so to speak, on the side over there.
See, the team for all the practices and everything had to be worked around the men's program. The practices had to be worked around the PE classes and all the men's practices. There was no place for the women to practice or anything.
So we took over.
So they built a gym. That's how she
So-
was in the middle.
So that part, was it just that gym and then the field was still extended on the other side of it? Or was there more? Because right now, the building continues to keep going where our offices and stuff are. So I'm just curious if whenever that gym was built, is that all that was added on to that at that time?
Yeah.
It would be interesting for you to go back if you could find the blueprints almost
Yeah.
of it, because boy, it was no ballroom, And it's changed tremendously. No exercise room or anything. Originally, it was just the dressing rooms downstairs, and the gym was all that was there.
Have either of you been to campus in recent years to see what it looks like now?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
We go every year we go to football games. We love going there. And we also had a band there called the Marching 100, and it was about a trumpet player, and that's about it. They
The
marched
Marching
around on
100
the
had the
field,
trumpet
though.
player.
Oh, gosh. Times were simple, you know?
So I came in another Southwestern article. I came across how Southwestern had, I guess, a women's basketball team, maybe Cherry, towards the end of your career at Southwestern, but then I guess it sounded like it kind of went away, and then it came back in 1975 with all of the more revised rules. And it said that in 1975, it was the first time that the women played with 5 players with a 30-second clock, and that there were 2 20-minute periods instead of the 8-minute quarters. And so in that year, there were also 9 games on the schedule. So Camille, can you talk about like the difference, and even Cherry, if you played basketball, from how basketball was before all these new rules were added?
Yeah, now I was not involved with all of that basketball, but the way it was 3 people on each end of the court, and you never cross the middle line. And what else was about it? Mainly that was it.
Well, that's just the way all women's
Yeah.
basketball was
Yeah.
prior to that time. I mean,
And then they changed it all.
and like I played intramural basketball in high school, and that's just the way the girls played. You had 6 players, and
3 on each end.
eventually they changed it so you had 2 that were rovers who could go play both ends. But girls were weak. We couldn't run up and down that court like the boys could.
That's right.
So if you have 3 on one side and you can't cross the center court, how does that work?
You have 3 forwards and 3 guards. And the 3 forwards stay down there and they shoot, and the guards stay down there and they try to keep the other team from shooting. And that's really it.
So
It's
your
like-
one side was always playing offense and the other side was always playing defense.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I would
It
say
wasn't-
that the 1975 rules would have been very, very different then.
Oh, yes.
Completely. Yeah.
Very different.
We did a little research. We saw that back in the 70s, there were about 35 or so female student athletes, and that's grown to around 200 now. Just seeing that growth, or knowing that you were a part of that growth, what is that like?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, we just, and we did it with the greatest of ease. It wasn't forced or anything like that. That just sort of happened, and it just built on from there. And it's very exciting. It really is to see all that and to go back where we came from and where they are now is just unbelievable. And it's really it's just a good feeling to see it grow like that. And because we both love Southwestern / Rhodes, however we want to call it these days. And, it's a good feeling to see that something came out of that, just messing around kind of. And then all of a sudden, we're up to 200 athletes, and that's something like that. So, and playing in conferences and stuff like that, it's fun thought.
Well, you're just messing around was a really big impact here. So much so that it got you in the Hall of Fame. So you're our first woman inducted into the Hall of Fame here, which is huge. I don't know if you know the significance of it, but if you do, what does that mean to you?
Oh gosh, there's no way to say what that means to me. It just was unbelievable because, I guess I wasn't even really totally aware there was a Athletic Hall of Fame, and certainly not one for women. And they called and talked to me, and I just was out of my mind. I just thought it was the most wonderful thing that's ever happened. And it really, really means a lot. It really does. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you or Cherry, do you guys have anything from your time at Southwestern that you really want to share with like us or like current student athletes?
Well, one of the things that I will always be very grateful for, it helped me get my first teaching job. Because when I graduated, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. That's what I wanted to do. And I was a history major, and St. Agnes Academy here in town had a position for a part-time history teacher, but they also needed someone to teach PE. And because of two things, because of what we call the MAN course then, Man in the Light of History and Religion.
I don't know what it is now.
But I forget what it is now.
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, I can't remember what it is.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a 2 year. It's one of the anyway, because it was included religion, philosophy, history, and all of that. That made me a good candidate for the job. But because of being on the teams, I had the sort of the know-how anyway to coach, to teach PE, which I had no hours in PE except for those little red shorts and everything, and playing on the teams. And so that got me my first job. And I know of two others that were on those early teams that also ended up getting part-time teaching jobs and coaching jobs, because by then the sports were moving into the high schools as more important for the girls then too. So it paved the way for my first teaching job.
That's awesome.
That was
Also, one thing too is that I think it kind of paved the way for girls, and that they really can play and they really can be good and competitive, and so that worked out like that too. And to also to have some type of exercise regimen to keep your body going. So I've been going ever since, so I guess it works okay.
Well, we thank you guys for all of your time. It was so great to meet you all.
We enjoyed doing it. Well, great to meet you too. And thank you very much.
Thank you
Good luck.
for doing
Good
this.
luck. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.